Hello. I hope you had a fun and safe night last night. And the next topic I will be discussing for about a week is coincidence or premonition. So you tell me, please comment, let me know what you think. I want to know, is these things a coincidence to you, or is it premonition to you? So first, before I get into, the situation, I would like to know if you think it's a coincidence or a premonition. First, I'm gonna tell you a little background about the performance that I gave at the Carabana this year. So the dances, I didn't, talk about where they came from. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about where they came from. I kind of, put them in a sequence to tell a story. And you might not get it, without the background. So I'm going to give you some background on the video that's on YouTube of my performance at the 2025 Canadian Carabana. So the first dance I did was the snake dance. Now in the video, I had the belly dance once, so I couldn't do all the moves. The snake dance, you supposed to move your head, like they do in the karate movies when they move in the snake. You're supposed to move your head you're supposed to kind of keep your eyes one place. And just move your head and kind of keep your eyes. You saw it in Karate Kid. You know what I'm talking about. So, you're supposed to do that while you wave your arm. So you're supposed to be like, so it's, that's the snake dance that I made up to go with my dad's nickname from when he was young. Most people call him Snake, but his some people call him Snake Eye. So that's his nickname. And Lego the Bird, that is represents my late mom. So that dance, I wanted to represent my late mom with that dance. And the cocoon dance represents my transformation from Latoya to Bloom. So I, had this idea, and I'm like, I want to create something, and I want it to be bigger than myself. And, that's, the dance that I chose for that is the cocoon. You go into the cocoon to become the butterfly. So next is the eyes dance. And that came from an explanation that my older cousin had gave me. I was 14 at the time. I was 4 months pregnant, and she was 17. So she was 17 and I was 14, and she, was telling me a story about myself, and she had was describing the person that I did not know. I have no idea who this person she was telling me about, but she called them eyes. And that was her explanation of my situation. And, then there is, so the eyes dance, it's like when you cover the rest of your face, and you only show your eyes, and then you just kind of go, eyes. So then the next one is the butterfly dance, and that represents my personality. I did not make up that dance, the butterfly dance. it's a dance that came out with a different song from someone else back in 1998. So I like that dance, and I think that represents my personality well. So I wanted to do the butterfly as well. And the Eggy dance represents my husband because that was his childhood nickname, Eggy. So basically, it's Touch Me Heart, or I like to do it with the left hand actually. But you go around your head. So you add that, the Eggy. So Touch Me Heart, of course, was a song to his mom. And then I just added the head to it. So that's how I came up with the Eggy. And then there's the Infinity Dance. And that represents the international impact that we made together. So, we traveled to Canada, Jamaica, Bahamas. And so, I feel like we made an impact where we went to. And the Infinity Dance kind of represents that. And, that kind of is the background of the sequence of dances that I did for Caribana 2025. And I was so happy that they went with me, because they don't always, want to be a part of, all of that anymore, because, I've been doing it so long. And I don't know, I guess they outgrew it. I didn't outgrow it. I'm going to keep going and see if I can, take it to the next level. And maybe they'll come back around. Maybe they'll, join me later. But now I'm getting to the part where the question comes in. So when I was 7 years old, there was a picture on my wall of not, in the living room. And it was of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And the second horseman represents war. It's depicted on a red horse with a sword. And it signified bloodshed and conflict. The other horsemen are riding on a white horse with scales, meaning conquest or overcoming opposition and famine. It's a shame about them food stamps, because so many people really need that assistance, I'm sorry about that, A pale horse, which means death, and countless artists have depicted this scene and drew it or painted it, so I don't know which one it was. I would like to see it again, but yeah, because I'm curious about the details again. But after I asked what the picture was about, and I got the explanation, that night I went to sleep. And while I was sleeping, I felt a cut on my arm, my upper arm. And I believe it was my right arm, but I was only 7. I could be mistaken. But I woke up out of my sleep when I felt it, because I felt it. I'm like, no, that was real. I woke up like, what's going on? And my arm had a cut on it, and it was just a little bit of blood. And I had to wake my dad up. I'm like, look, I was cut by the sword. I'm okay, but I was cut by the sword. I, wasn't scared because the other person's head got chopped off. So, I'm like, I just got a cut on my arm. I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I think now that I'm older, that it signifies that, you know, I'm going to go through, but I'm going to be okay. You know, so you tell me, was that, you know, just a coincidence, you know, or is it a sign of the times in a premonition?